could have been greater plans as far as getting rid of her, and it's scary, sadistic stuff. It comes very close to the camera. You can see the person and you can see what they're wearing, something pretty distinctive, and there's photos 12 hours earlier, a person at the house wearing the same.
Private investigator Steve Fisher just dropped a bombshell. He got his hands on footage from July 29th, the last time David Tesla's car was seen being moved before he left for tour. The wild part, Steve says that car was likely carrying Celeste's body inside it. And get this, he claims he's already identified the driver. Things are spiraling fast because now investigators have uncovered a second secret rental property that David was keeping hidden. That's supposedly where Celeste was being kept, and possibly where her life ended. An arrest could literally be coming any minute now.
It was at that house that there could have been greater plans as far as getting rid of her, and it's scary, sadistic stuff. And that's why we're trying to learn more about that. I wish I could say more, but for obvious reasons I can't. But it doesn't have to do with how she died, but maybe how they were planning on ultimately getting rid of her, and how maybe that Tesla was just a holding spot at the time, and things just, their timing was just off as far as getting this done. But there's a few things that were just like, will blow your mind. There are some other items that were found at the house that weren't taken during the search warrant. And, search warrants are limited, right? They can't just go take everything. It's what the judge, and we don't know how broad that search warrant was because we haven't seen it, and that's what we'd like to see. But there were some things that were not taken into custody of LAPD that we think are significant, and including digital media and some other things that really help nail down timeline and things like that.
But it gets darker. Reports say there were disturbing plans to hide or dispose of her body in completely twisted ways. This is beyond chilling. The deeper this goes, the worse it looks for David. So here's the setup. The owner of David's fancy Hollywood rental home was the one who hired this private investigator, Steve Fisher. The man was desperate to find out what really happened on his property after police found a dead girl in the trunk of a car tied to one of his tenants. That's straight out of a horror movie. And let's be real, if your house is worth millions and something this gruesome goes down inside it, you'd want answers too. The owner needed to know if Celeste's death actually took place inside the house so he could protect the property's value and tell any future buyers or renters the truth.
I've seen the car driven to that spot, and with the dates, with the date that it was, and they left town right after that. I'm certain that is the last time the car was driven. It was put there with her, in the front trunk.
This private investigator has been out here doing next-level detective work, like some real FBI-style digging. In the clip I showed you, he straight up said he's got proof that David and whoever helped him had twisted sadistic plans for how they were gonna hide or get rid of Celeste's body. That's absolutely insane. Here's the thing, according to the PI...
But the window was half to 3/4 of the way down, which is odd because it was a very short drive. And also at that on that day, this is the very end of July 29th, it was like 78 degrees at that time in the morning, or 77 degrees. And if it was on the street where the house is, so it's shaded by the house. So
when the homeowner came back to the property after the cops were done, there were still items lying around that the police should have taken. And that raised a lot of red flags. I mean, why would evidence that could have helped the case be left behind? It's weird. So my guess is that after David packed up and moved out, the homeowner must have found some seriously disturbing stuff, maybe weapons, sharp blades, or even chemicals meant to dissolve a body, like those creepy compounds you see in shows like Breaking Bad. And because the cops didn't collect...
if you're going to, I don't know why the window would be rolled down unless there's something, offensive there. And then all of a sudden, one of the first things I picked up on when the news first broke about her being found in there, where they were towing the car away from the impound lot to LAPD, was why on a $104,000 car is there a Christmas tree air freshener hanging from the, from the mirror? It seemed kind of odd to me, but I guess maybe they thought that would help, mask it for when they had to move the car.
The PI and the homeowner started connecting the dots themselves. That's when they began to suspect that David and whoever was helping him had these horrific plans ready to go. The PI even mentioned in his video that everything about the scene felt rushed. And honestly, it adds up. Who in their right mind would leave someone they were dating or controlling in the trunk of a car registered to their own name? That's wild. The most logical explanation is that they were planning to dispose of Celeste's body properly, but ran out of time.
This video, July 29th, and talk to me about what you saw. What did you see in terms of the identity of the person driving through that open window?
So it's very clearly that Tesla, one, because the Tesla has that tape on the rear spoiler for whatever reason. I don't know why it's there. And also, it was just like it is in that picture. It was that dirty, except you could tell that they had run the windshield wiper like once to clear the dirt away so they could see.
David's tour started that same week, so maybe the plan fell apart at the last minute. Then, the PI shared something else. He went door to door around Beverly Hills and the Hollywood Hills, checking security cameras from nearby houses. And get this, he actually found CCTV footage and was able to identify the driver of David's Tesla. The car was last seen being moved on July 29, 2025, the exact same day David supposedly left for tour. You'll actually hear it yourself in the clip. The timing is almost too perfect. The car gets moved.
It comes very close to the camera, although there is some motion blur, but you can see the person and you can see what they're wearing, something pretty distinctive. And there's photos that I have from 12 hours earlier.
And right after that, boom, David and his crew hit the road for tour. The coach was ready, the bags were loaded, and they were gone like nothing ever happened. Now, there are already some very strong theories about who the mysterious driver might be, but I'll save that for later once we break down all the facts. Let's stay focused on the evidence for now, because this next detail is seriously bizarre. So, according to private investigator Steve Fisher, the driver who moved David's Tesla had the windows rolled down while driving. Doesn't sound that strange, right? But here's where it gets weird.
When the Tesla was left there, he literally immediately started the tour. There was a tour bus that was leased, and I'll tell you that Tesla was moved and literally a bus departed.
When police later impounded that same car, it had an air freshener hanging inside. So what happened in between? Why would someone drive with all the windows open if not to air something out? Steve mentioned that day was 78 degrees Fahrenheit. For us Europeans, that's about 26 degrees Celsius. So yeah, it was warm, but not that hot. I mean, come on. Maybe the driver was just trying to get some air. But others think otherwise. People online are already saying the windows were down because the smell was unbearable. That Celeste's body was already inside the trunk. That's a horrifying thought.
And we've gotten videos from them and reports. And so who had that key is probably the same person that, had access to the Tesla.
And if that's true, it would mean this mystery driver was literally the last person to move that car before it was taken by police. The last link in a chain that ties straight back to David Tesla himself. The fact that we now have an identified driver makes everything 10 times more intense. This private investigator is about to blow this whole case wide open. He's planning to hand over all
to that position. It was already like that. So that car had not been used in a very long time. It was super dirty, caked on dirt. I'll tell you, this was in late July. So it's bizarre because we also got media that the car was used a lot. David even spoke about it in Instagram videos. He took it to a detail shop and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, the very beginning of the year, that car, something happens, and that car's doesn't show up anymore. It's not used. It seems to disappear. And then that red Tesla learned.
This new evidence to the police. And honestly, this could finally be the break investigators have been waiting for. I really believe an arrest might be coming soon. But of course, cops have to move carefully. They've got to build a rock-solid case with enough proof to make charges stick, so it could still take some time. Still, this right here might be the missing piece of the puzzle. Now here's another wild detail. Steve Fisher said there was only one key to David's Hollywood house. That's huge because it means not just anyone could have been slipping in and out unnoticed. If there was truly just one key, then access was tightly controlled. But here's the twist. The homeowner thinks David could have made a duplicate key behind their back, which opens a whole new set of questions. Even crazier, the PI revealed that someone was living in that house while David was away on tour, and that this same person had access to David's Tesla. That right there changes everything. It points to the possibility that David wasn't acting alone, that he had an accomplice helping him cover his tracks. And get this, things took an even darker turn in January. That's when David suddenly abandoned his black Tesla and went to lease a brand new red one. Why? Because the registration on the black one had expired, or maybe he just wanted to ditch the car completely since it was too connected to the case. Steve Fisher even noted that something major shifted around January or February, and that's also when the last known photos of Celeste surfaced. So if you put that timeline together, what does it suggest? That Celeste may have already been gone by early in the year. It's horrifying to even say it, but all signs are pointing that way. Because seriously, if she had been dead that long, almost 8 months, how could a body even still be intact? By September, decomposition would have been extreme. It doesn't make sense for her to look freshly gone after all that time unless someone was moving or preserving the body in some way. It's honestly so strange how David just ditched his $100,000 black Tesla like it was nothing and suddenly went and leased a brand new one. Who does that without a serious...
Which we didn't know until the search warrant was served, that there's a red Tesla in the garage, which I can tell you was leased on February 1st. I'll say the last photo that we have of Celeste is January 2nd, 2025.
Okay, now that's significant because we were wondering when, you know, she was last seen alive. There was that surveillance footage of her seemingly running away from her neighborhood. And that
was September of 24, I believe. So
yeah.
We didn't have anything. We were like, where was this girl in 2025? But we do have a photo of her on July 2nd, early in the morning, July 2nd, 2025.
Reason, especially when that old car could have been a key piece of evidence. And what makes it even more suspicious is that the last photos of David and Celeste together were taken back in January, right before everything went dark. This whole case is seriously messing with my head. It's like every detail opens up 5 more questions. Now, the private investigator still hasn't revealed who the mystery driver was, and yeah, that's frustrating. But in a way, it's actually a good thing. If that name dropped right now, the entire internet would explode and this would turn into a full-blown media circus. By keeping it quiet, the PI is probably helping the cops do their job without all the noise, fake stories, and people chasing clout online. At least this way, the focus stays on the investigation instead of a headline frenzy. But here's where it gets even crazier. There are now strong suspicions that David had another hidden house all along. The private investigator briefly mentioned it in one of his YouTube clips, but didn't spill all the details. Then, someone posted a tweet claiming that the PI believes Celeste Rivas actually died in early 2025, around January or February, at another property David was secretly renting just a mile down the same street where her body was later found. That's way too close to be a coincidence. According to what's being shared online, a Reddit user even posted receipts showing David was renting 2 separate places at the same time. One was his flashy Hollywood pad, the one we've all seen, and the other was supposedly Celeste's secret hideout. The post raises a lot of tough questions. Why wasn't that second house ever searched? Was that where David kept Celeste whenever he went out of state for tour? And most chilling of all, did everything actually happen there? To top it off, the PI hinted that David's friend Neo might have been the one who moved the Tesla that day. So this is where things get absolutely wild. The private investigator dropped photos from the second rental property, and once you see them, there's no denying it. This was definitely a spot connected to David and Celeste. The bathroom alone gives it away. You can clearly see the same painting hanging on the wall that shows up in multiple TikTok clips from Celeste's account. Same frame, same background, same setup. No question, it's the exact same place. And it doesn't stop there. There's another shot showing the kitchen, and it's identical to the one where Celeste went live at 3 a.m. one night. The countertop, the cabinets, even the lighting. It all matches perfectly. Then there's a photo of the bedroom, and guess what's above the bed? Those same distinctive paintings you see in the official real estate listing for that second rental home. In one of Celeste and David's TikToks, you can literally see them lying in that bed right in front of those exact paintings. It's almost chilling how obvious it is once you line up the photos. What's even crazier, the 2 properties are practically neighbors. The secret rental and David's Hollywood Hills mansion are only about a 4-minute drive apart. Like, he didn't even bother hiding far away. And get this, the street where his car was last spotted, Bluebird Avenue, is just 3 minutes from the main Doheny house. Everything is sitting right there in the same little area. There's even proof from the property listings that show the same kitchen seen in Celeste's late-night live stream. Same tiles, same counter, everything. The bathroom photos match too, right down to that recognizable painting where she once filmed. It's bone-chilling to think she was probably trapped there while the world had no idea. So yeah, there's no more doubt. This second secret property was real, and it looks like David was hiding Celeste there. People have already posted full TikToks breaking down every piece of proof, connecting the listing photos with her videos frame by frame. So now we've got that bathroom photo, David standing right in front of the same painting that shows up in Celeste's videos. Some people online are brushing it off, saying it was probably just an Airbnb, but come on, that explanation barely holds up. If David really needed a hidden place to keep Celeste away from the public eye, renting out a low-profile Airbnb or private apartment would have been the perfect cover. No neighbors asking questions, no paparazzi hanging around, just silence and secrecy. And think about it. There's absolutely no way a 13-year-old girl could have been living with him inside his main Beverly Hills mansion while his manager, his entourage, and random party guests were constantly around. That house was known for being wild, full of people coming and going at all hours. If Celeste was there, someone would have noticed. So yeah, it makes total sense that he'd stash her away somewhere quieter, just down the road. I seriously hope the LAPD has already searched that Airbnb or second property, because if they didn't, they could be missing major evidence. That place might hold the real answers about what happened to her. I wouldn't even be shocked if this was actually the house where Celeste lost her life. When you piece everything together, it fits perfectly. David wouldn't risk doing anything shady in his multi-million-dollar mansion with cameras, staff, and people everywhere. He'd do it somewhere temporary, somewhere he could walk away from and pretend it never existed. And honestly, it's sad but obvious. He probably chose that second house to hide both Celeste and the truth. People online are already connecting the dots, and it's looking worse for him by the day. Fans have even said that house had a party vibe, meaning tons of people might have seen something without realizing it. You know, the sad part is, some of these people around David might have been totally innocent, just caught up in his world without realizing how dark things had gotten. But let's be real, David had a tight circle of so-called friends who were always hanging around doing nothing, living off him. They weren't real assistants or employees, they were just groupies completely dependent on him. And when you're living off someone like that, you'll do whatever they say. So if David told one of them, hey, move my car real quick, they probably didn't even question it. They just did it, not knowing what they were actually helping to cover up. That's why this new information is so crucial. Even though we still don't know exactly who the driver was, it's a massive step that the private investigator was able to identify that person at all. It means the puzzle pieces are finally starting to come together, and maybe, just maybe, this will help the police crack the case wide open. So yeah, that's all we've got for now, but this story is far from over. The deeper this goes, the more it feels like justice for Celeste is finally getting closer. Huge credit to that private investigator for keeping the pressure on and digging up what others missed. This could change everything. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if you're following this story, and let me know in the comments what you think really happened. Stay safe, and I'll see you on the next one.